Have you ever wondered how you're able to see so much in this world? Where did this life come from? Surely that question must have crossed your mind. Have we been like this since the start, or was it bestowed as a gift? No, life is a mystery to you and the galaxy. The progress that humans have made today with their intelligence is the result of billions of years of evolution. The question also arises, doesn't this life exist elsewhere, or did it only emerge on Earth? And how did so much come about? Friends, there are many questions, and with them come numerous hidden mysteries. So be sure to watch the video until the end, and if you're new here, subscribe to the channel. Let's get started. Life is a phenomenon of this world that's present in every corner of the planet. On Earth, everything is flourishing and blooming. Today, of all living beings, we humans are the most intelligent. This becomes evident when no other creature is still struggling for food while we humans are dreaming of living on Mars. Scientists believe that the origin of life on Earth was merely an incident that occurred roughly 4 billion years ago. How did we achieve such progress over so many years? Let's explain how humans have made so many inventions today. Today we have everything. Put simply, humans are the most powerful on this planet, friends, but the evolution of our life has been full of excitement and challenges. In this video, we'll take you back in time to when this world was just a fiery ball. From the dawn of life like this to the intelligent beings we are today, let us go back in time to find the answers to your questions. About 4 billion years ago, Earth was a blazing ball of fire. Everywhere lay scorching lava, and clouds of gas and dust surrounded the planet on all sides. At first glance, it didn't look as if such highly evolved creatures would ever emerge. Scientists say that around this time, life first appeared on Earth. But where did this life come from? There is no definitive answer yet. Some scientists believe life arrived here on a meteorite from another galaxy, while others believe that life arose spontaneously on Earth when different chemicals combined in the water. According to prevailing theories, the seeds of life first appeared as single cells in Earth's waters. And in our mythology, the very first life did emerge in water. This single cell is our ancestor, and within that cell, coded DNA instructions in cells enabled genes to transmit information outward, and for roughly 500 million years, life remained confined to unicellular organisms. Then, about 3.5 billion years ago, they began producing exact replicas of themselves. They made countless copies, and this remarkable event set life on a course of evolution. These cells started generating new genes and information. Had the cells not done this, life might never have begun. For 2 billion years, this process continued, old cells giving rise to new ones. Through this, the information was developing even further in the genes of the new cells. Then one day, an incident occurred when the cells joined together and began to create a new cell. As a result, the genetic information from both combined to begin forming perfect cells like themselves in the cells where, after that initial period, the same evolutionary process continued steadily. Genetic mutations began accumulating in these primitive cells, ultimately causing complex multicellular organs to emerge. Life gradually developed through the transfer of genetic information. It became increasingly complex, leading to new types of aquatic creatures. One of those species was our ancestor, an aquatic creature just 3 inches long, still fully enclosed in its egg. Since they didn't need to see light in the pitch-dark depths of their world, nature hadn't given them eyes. But now, the destined moment had come for their sight to awaken. To protect themselves from danger, they had to develop eyes, and it took them 20 million years to do so. This allowed cells that could detect light to form, and for the first time, they beheld a colorful world. Now that our ancestors had eyes, they needed to store everything they saw. In order to accomplish this remarkable feat, a distinct and comparatively small additional brain structure gradually evolved behind each of their eyes. Then, through evolution, our ancestors shed their worm-like form and became fish-shaped. Their brains began processing small decisions and information. But as we mentioned earlier in this discussion, spontaneous mutations had produced numerous novel species, some highly dangerous predators, and these hunters began feasting on them. To stay alive, we had to avoid these dangerous creatures. We evolved by toughening our skin so that we could survive. But the predators were also evolving, so to escape them, we began living in shallow water. But the shallow water had low oxygen levels. About 375 million years ago, to save ourselves, we did something that no creature had ever done before due to the lack of oxygen. We stuck our mouths out of the water and now breathing air, a new organ, namely lungs, developed in our bodies. We began to live both in water and on land. Now we could breathe both air and water. About 365 million years ago, we saw a new world on land. It was that unique time when we chose land over water. Here there was food for us and plenty of oxygen, but the sunlight here was very intense, which made our skin thicker. We had learned to live on land. Our ancestors laid eggs to carry on their lineage. New generations were born from these eggs, and to store information about this new world, our brains developed even further. But we were not alone on this land. Creatures from the water were here too. To secure our provisions, we had to engage in fierce combat with them, and because of the accumulation of genetic mutations, changes occurred within our bodies to help us win the battle. Our mouths and jaws became quite powerful, and we began hunting them too. But not everything goes as expected. Something entirely different was in store. 250 million years ago, magma from Siberia started breaking through the Earth's crust. Because of this magma, the toxic carbon dioxide oxide began trapping the sun's heat in Earth's atmosphere. Because of this, the heat rose so drastically that on Earth, plants and saplings began disappearing. Many species started dying out, and before we knew it, 95% of Earth's species had vanished. Among the remaining 5% were our ancestors and some species that would later become dinosaurs. Slowly, everything on Earth recovered. We then looked like cats. We no longer dragged our bodies but moved forward on our legs. We had endured many blows from nature before we could develop to this extent. But we are not alone. Someone else has evolved in the same way. Their rule now dominates this planet. These are the dinosaurs, and it is their era. If we want to stay alive on this Earth, we must keep our distance from them. The dinosaurs evolved much faster than us, growing enormous and terrifying over successive generations. In order to survive amidst these predators, we were compelled to devise a method to evade becoming their prey. As a result, our size became even smaller. We began to look like moles and lived in burrows underground, our bodies covered in thick fur. Whenever we felt cold, our hair would involuntarily stand on end, creating pockets of trapped air between individual strands that acted as highly effective insulation, thereby helping to keep our bodies warm. You may have noticed that when we get cold, our goosebumps still rise, even though we no longer need them for that purpose. Today, our bodies are losing hair. Back then, however, we had to stay extremely alert and react before we could even see them. From the moment our senses and awareness sharpened, our ability to see, hear, and perceive grew tremendously, and our brains expanded even further. Because we needed to make decisions quickly, friends. If anything good happened to us humans in the past, it was the dinosaurs. Thanks to them, we now have a sharp mind and perfect senses. Previously, our ancestors used to lay eggs. But over time, they began giving birth to live offspring, and from then on, the young developed inside the mother's womb rather than outside the body. And to nourish them, our sweat glands transformed into complex mammary glands, thereby enabling us mammals to nourish and raise our young offspring with abundant nutritious milk. Because of this, we were able to survive. This small leap was a tremendous achievement for us on our journey from a single cell to becoming human. Nearly 4,000 species emerged, from tiny rodents to massive whales and eventually US humans. Thus began the era of mammals. But even now, 65 million years ago, a Mount Everest-sized rock arrived from the galaxy and struck the Gulf of Mexico. The asteroid's collision wrought massive devastation on Earth as plumes of dust completely engulfed the planet. Volcanoes erupted everywhere, unleashing deadly earthquakes, and dinosaurs were scorched into oblivion. The era was truly horrifying. We had only one option: burrow into the ground and save ourselves. Fortunately, we were already masters at this, and so we did. All the large species on Earth had perished. Only tiny creatures remained, among them us. But nature has one rule: new creation. Before any new creation, the old must be destroyed. This cataclysm gave us the chance to evolve. In this great extinction, tiny insects, like cockroaches, survived. From then on, we ate only them to stay alive. By feeding on them, our ancestors advanced forward. They kept themselves alive that way. Today, we exist on this planet largely thanks to those cockroaches which our predecessors ate to survive. At that time, we were just 6 inches long. Gradually, Earth's conditions began to change again. 5 years had passed since the great extinction, and the planet turned lush green with trees and fruits sprouting. These were packed with nutrients. It's simple. The more nutrition we take in, the longer we live. But the problem was that most of the edible fruits grew high on sturdy tree branches. So over countless generations, we evolved to climb like monkeys and remain perched there. Already 56 million years ago, we had grown accustomed to a treetop world. We had no dealings with the ground. But our world was never that simple. Over the coming epochs, Earth's temperature began to change. The forest dried up and shrank, which led to a shortage of food. In response, we adapted again through genetic mutations. Our tails disappeared and our arms and legs grew even longer, allowing us to cling to tree branches at all times. We continued to adapt to Earth's environment, but Earth's changes didn't stop there. And the African tectonic plates began to pull apart, creating the East African Rift Valley, and along its edges, a mountain chain about 3,500 kilometers long. Clouds laden with moisture drawn from the distant Indian Ocean would deliver abundant rainfall to the region, but these imposing mountain ranges blocked their progression, leaving that part of Africa parched and its resources dramatically dwindling. Yet our ancestors were trapped in that very region of Africa. To save ourselves from starvation, we decided to leave the trees behind as early as 4.4 million years ago. We climbed down from the trees in search of food on the ground. We were about 4 feet tall with brains the size of an orange, and the remaining trees were far apart. That's why, over countless generations in human evolution, we gradually learned to walk on 2 legs, a development that freed our hands for tasks and enabled us to stand upright. We used to pluck fruit from trees, which meant our energy wasn't being used. Over the next 1.2 million years, our gradual evolution continued. Our bodies evolved so that we could run faster on 2 legs. We also found food and water more easily, but walking upright made childbirth difficult. So delivering a fully developed baby was not easy. Then, due to cell mutations, we started giving birth to babies who arrived early. Any essential growth that should have happened in the mother's womb took place after birth. You've probably noticed that we humans are a species whose newborns remain helpless, taking months to develop and learn survival skills. Months to walk on their own, and mothers have to breastfeed and raise them for years. But you'll see that animals don't do this. Their young walk right after birth. Some 3.2 million years ago, we were already walking on 2 legs. But we were in grave danger from wild animals and couldn't outrun them. Yet, by using our intelligence, we could still evade them. We continuously applied our brains to survive. And over time, our brains grew even larger. Around 2.3 million years ago, our brain size had doubled, and at that time we were Homo habilis. Also called handyman, Homo habilis were the first in our lineage to craft rudimentary stone tools, implements that we used for hunting game and processing meat. A leap made possible by the growth of our mental prowess and skills. This was only the beginning. There was still much for us to create, and over time we kept using these simple but effective stone weapons in diverse ways across communities. Meanwhile, our thumb evolved to grasp the stone, strengthening our grip, and even today the thumb is very useful in life. You can't do any task without a thumb. It's as if we're incomplete. Evolution continued, and 1.8 million years ago, first we became Homo erectus. By then we had become hunters, hunting for ourselves. We hunted together and ate together. Then one day, lightning struck from the sky and set the forest on fire, killing many creatures. But this fire kept us warm, and the creatures that had burned. We ate cooked meat for the first time, which we enjoyed greatly. It was easier to digest and chew, and we also learned to make fire. This discovery was going to change our world, because the power of nature was now in our hands. Fire kept us safe from other animals, protected us from the cold, and most importantly, we began to eat cooked meat. This meant we no longer had to spend energy digesting or chewing. All that bodily energy was now making our brains bigger and smarter. But we still couldn't communicate with each other, which made understanding one another difficult. Then genetic mutations altered the muscles in our throats according to our needs, so we could produce all kinds of sounds. Now we could speak and communicate with each other. For 4 billion years, battling for survival from single-celled origins through ongoing evolution, we've emerged to stand at Earth's pinnacle. Most intelligent beings. We humans learned to domesticate animals, learned to farm, made thousands of inventions, reached the moon, and are preparing to go to Mars. We are not stopping here. You likely hear about a new advanced technology discovery every day. We have learned all of this over 4 billion years, and the journey continues. But have we ever wondered about the Earth we live on? How it became capable of supporting life? If you want to find out, write in the comments section and subscribe to the channel. If you enjoyed the video, please like it.